If there are two things that are quintessentially Melbourne, it's laneways and coffee. And for brothers Theo and Tony Roussos, that's been their lives for 16 years, running this cafe in the city. But nothing could prepare them for the past 12 months.
It's been an emotional ride, I think, for everybody, really.
They've endured 3 lockdowns, gone without tourists for a year, and now many of their regulars are still working from home. Melbourne's central business district is one of the hardest hit economies in the country.
If we're going to have to start letting staff go because we can't afford to keep them, you can just imagine, like, these kids rely on us to keep them in jobs. If we're not being supported, how are they going to be supported? How do they pay their rents? Emotionally, yeah, it could be quite devastating, I think.
The brothers have already laid off 20 staff during the pandemic. Without the JobKeeper wage subsidy, there would have been even more.
It's obviously meant the difference between, surviving and, closing the doors.
The JobKeeper's really been a game changer. It really did protect jobs, it protected economic activity, and I think the recovery we're seeing now is actually because of the scale of that program.
In the first phase of JobKeeper, almost 4 million employees had their wages subsidised by $1,500 a fortnight. Since October, the program has been limited to businesses that could still show a 30% fall in their cash flow. For the 1.5 million workers still covered, the maximum payment was capped at $1,200. As the economy recovered, this year fewer businesses qualified for the wage subsidy. It's estimated about 1 million employees remain on JobKeeper, now limited to a maximum of $1,000 per employee. But at the end of this month, JobKeeper will come to an end. The Federal Treasury has indicated about 100,000 jobs could be at risk, but some economists fear the impact could be worse.
There will be a group that unfortunately will join the job seeker ranks. There are a lot of estimates flying around, but there's credible estimates of sort of 200,000 people.
If you cut JobKeeper, you cut jobs. It's that simple.
This is another ticket to recovery for Australia.
Replacing JobKeeper is more targeted support. Today, the Prime Minister announced a package for the ravaged tourism industry, including 800,000 half-price airline tickets.
To keep people in their jobs, we've got to put planes in the air and we've got to put tourists on the ground.
I think it was an important announcement. The challenge is always, as you move from these sort of broad economy-wide supports to targeted supports, who misses out?
Any support is welcome, but JobKeeper is really the thing that guarantees they hang on to staff.
We do see it making a difference. I mean, in the schemes of things, it's less than 5% of our total capacity network-wide, but on these markets, it's quite substantial, 20 to 40% growth.
The government has also announced continued wage support for thousands of workers in Virgin and Qantas's international divisions. Now, Qantas boss Alan Joyce is confident not only about the outlook for his airline, but for the Australian economy too.
It's weathered its way through this better than any other economy, I think, around the globe in a lot of ways. I think everybody's waiting to see the impact of JobKeeper coming off. But even with that, I think there's enough other economic activity. I'd rather be here as an airline than anywhere else in the globe.
It's diabolical here. People are on their knees. People talk about the cliff face coming at the end of JobKeeper. And, I sort of went over that cliff face in January, and financially it's been just a massive blow to the business.
Roderick Rees's company runs whitewater rafting and other tours in far north Queensland. The business was forced off JobKeeper in January. Business has fallen away since then, but without wage support, some staff have left while he's been forced to sack others. A situation, he says, has become far too common across the region.
We've got whitewater rafting guides. If you've got balloon pilots or you've got dive instructors, these people have moved out of the industry. the tragedy of the situation is that we're moving into Easter and we're going to have customers at our front door and we're not going to be able to transact them.
While Cairns is one of the destinations for cut-price airfares, Roderick Rees argues without JobKeeper, North Queensland will suffer until the international tourists come back.
The pain for this region starts now and at the end of JobKeeper and continues on through the rest of this year. How many businesses will be left here in 2022? That's anybody's guess.
There are many people at risk of being left out and left behind, and they should be our focus.
Economic activity has come back pretty strongly. Jobs were about 90% of the way back, but I do think the last 10% is the hardest.
For Theo and Tony, today's announcement won't help much. They're just hoping against the odds for a last-minute JobKeeper reprieve.
If JobKeeper does come to an end, I think we haven't seen the worst of it yet, especially in the city.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.